What's going on, guys? Kulprit here. Welcome to my Battlefield 4 Gun Locker series, a series where I review and analyze all the weaponry in Battlefield 4, give you my opinions, give you my breakdown on the weapons, so that you might have a little better idea what to expect perhaps when you're using these weapons for the first time. Today we're going to switch it up. We're going to go back to the assault rifle category. I've been kind of doing support and carbines up until now, so we're going to go back to assault rifles. We're going to talk about the Scar H today. Let me give you a little background on why that is. As all you guys know, if you follow me on Twitter and stuff, you know I've been very excited about the competitive side of Battlefield 4, some of the elements they've added, spectator and things. And I've noticed, since release to now, it's always been, ACWR, Scar 23, those types of weapons, AEKs. Very recently, I saw the Scar H popping up a lot. There's always like 1 or 2, maybe 3 guys per 10-man match using it. And I thought that was kind of peculiar, so I kind of look at the stats and things, and I wanted to go back and revisit it. So what did I find out? This thing is a monster. It hits very hard, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. This is a medium to long range monster. That's really what it is. It can hold its own CQB, but it has some detriments to that. That's not going to be its primary role. But you're not exactly going to be walking into a building with your pants down. You're absolutely going to be able to hold your own in that situation. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to force medium range engagements. So let's just get right into the pros, cons, attachments like I typically do. You guys know the format, and we'll talk about it as we go. So let's get right into the pros. I just want to point out, this gun looks sexy. I'm always a sucker for a Scar. I just do. Between real life, even like airsoft stuff, I've always said if I get another airsoft rifle, it's going to be a Scar. I just love the way it looks. It's got a little bit of futuristic angles and cuts to it, but it's still got that classic assault rifle look. I just think it looks really, really cool, and it does in Battlefield 4 too. Just wanted to point that out. Lead the whole video off with that. High damage for fast kills makes it excel at larger ranges. Let's talk about that for a minute. The max damage on the Scar H is 34. The min damage is 25. That basically means you will never need more than 4 hits to kill a guy at any range. That means also up close you gotta get a 3-hit kill, potentially a 2-hit kill if you get a headshot in there. You're gonna feel cheap, honestly. You're gonna be sitting there like you're gonna feel like you get a lot of really cheap kills on people. It's awesome. If you get headshots, if you're a good accuracy guy, you can be a real monster with this weapon, picking people off. It's really good from behind cover, that type of thing, holding objectives and stuff. It's just a really well suited gun for that. It has very low side-to-side recoil, making it really easy to manage. All the recoil on the Scar H is pretty much vertical. Side-to-side is fairly balanced, fairly low by comparison, so you don't have to worry about the side-to-side as much as you do the vertical recoil. And at longer ranges, that's something you always have to take into consideration. But we have several ways to combat that, and I will get to that in a minute. The low first shot recoil multiplier again makes it a medium range monster. So you have, you might have a high vertical recoil, but you've got a very low, by comparison, first shot recoil multiplier. So a weapon like this that I'm telling you right now is very suited for medium range plus. Well, you've got high damage, you've got pretty good muzzle velocity. These things. Now you gotta, you're gonna typically be burst firing this weapon anyway because the range you're trying to get engagements. Well, now you got a low first shot recoil. That goes really nicely with all those things. It really synergizes very well. The low rounds per minute actually makes it more manageable for medium ranges. Again, a lot of these people, they're very into these high fire rate guns, the AEKs, the ACE-23s, the ACWRs. They're very high rate of fire. This gun is on the other end of the spectrum, but the time to kill is fairly close because, again, it has that much beefier damage to it. So in the engagement, you're going to look for with this weapon. Again, medium range, maybe out. The lower RPMs makes it actually easier for you to manage. You don't have to worry about, the very, very quick burst and getting as many rounds down range. What you're really worrying about is making whatever you do shoot count. As long as you make them count, they're going to go down very, very quickly. The weapon has very good reload times, only bested by the M416 and the M16. It's actually better than ACE-23 by comparison, everybody's favorite AR, it seems like. Now, I'd be remiss if we don't talk about the cons, so let's get right into that. The magazine size is very small, 21 rounds plus 1 in the chamber, very much smaller compared to, 10 rounds smaller basically than your standard assault rifle magazine. That is quite a detriment. It is kind of frustrating. It is something you have to learn to kind of play around, to be quite honest. Because of the small magazine size, your starting ammo reserve is much smaller. Now in Battlefield 4, I believe it works the same way in Battlefield 3, the starting ammo is not based off of just a number. It's based off of a number of magazines. I believe it's 4 magazines is what you start out with, especially if you don't have any perks or anything like that as you gain through the field upgrades. The Scar H starts out with 84 rounds plus 21 already in the gun, so you're basically starting out with 105 rounds on your person to start the match. Compare that to the ACE-23, you're at 31 plus 124, you're at 155 to start the match. That's 50 less rounds. That's significant. That is a big deal, especially because I'm going to tell you the Scar H is a very good weapon. It's very effective, and you're going to want to play that weapon at a medium range. You're going to want to play that weapon a little slower, cover to cover. Well, what does that mean? That means you're going to kick ass, you're going to stay alive, and you're going to run out of ammo. You're absolutely going to run out of ammo. You're going to get pretty good at kit switching, something I was not very good at until I started using this weapon. That is one of the cons, believe it or not, of this weapon, is that you are going to have to be switching kits quite often. You're going to be reloading a lot, the low magazines, and you're going to be running out of ammo pretty often if you're playing this weapon correctly and if you're a halfway decent Battlefield 4 player. So let's talk about my recommended usage with this weapon. Well, this weapon excels, like I've said, at medium to long range engagements. It can handle itself in CQB. You're not going to walk into a building, like I said, with your pants down. You can absolutely chew through people. You're going to have high damage. Within 8 meters, I believe you're hitting for 34. That's a 3-shot kill. If you get a headshot, that's 2. He's done. You will be able to go toe-to-toe with the high rate of fire weapons. Problem is, you're going to have a really hard time against multiple targets. You're going to have to make every single bullet count. There's absolutely no room for spray and pray, and that can be kind of hard when you're surprised by people, and then you're surprised by multiple people in a gunfight. In those situations, sometimes it is better to spray and pray, so this weapon is not really well suited for that, but I just want you to understand you're not totally nerfed in a CQB environment. It's ideally suited for defensive, cover-oriented positioning, holding off enemies. If you're a high accuracy player, this could be a really great weapon to you. I've told you time and time again, if you can get consistent headshots with this gun, you're going to get consistent 2 or 3 round kills, and people are going to freak out. They're going to complain about the one-hit kills all over the place. You're going to see chat spam, and you're just going to enjoy it because you know it's legitimate. They don't. You can't really blame them. They have no idea of knowing that you're just using a really good weapon and you're being a monster with it with your skill set. Now let's quickly talk about attachments and what I recommend you use with this weapon if you're using it as I've recommended in medium range engagements, that sort of thing. The optic, any red dot sight will do, hollow sight as well. It's kind of a matter of personal preference. A lot of people are kind of getting away from the coyote sight now, going to like the Cobra or maybe the hollow scope. I can't, the name HD33 or something like that. It's escaping me right now. All just a matter of personal preference. You could even probably make a case for like an ACOG type of thing, just not my favorite. I prefer red dot sight or a hollow scope. Barrel. Right now I have 2 ones I really enjoy that I find myself switching in and out. Kind of depends on the game mode I'm playing. Muzzle brake. As I said, there's quite a bit of vertical recoil on this gun, and you know the muzzle brake is just really going to help you control that. Now, if you find that you can control it, through burst firing and just compensating with the mouse, you can go without a muzzle brake. Just leave it naked and go that way. You're probably better off for it. It's really kind of up to what you're capable of. If you can compensate through the mouse, recoil compensate, you'll be much better off for it. If you can't, throw the muzzle brake on there. You're still going to be pretty damn good. Suppressor, as always, keeps you off the minimap. It's really good for CQB, kind of pushing, think rush, arming MCOMs, that type of thing, or holding a good position where you don't want to give your position away behind some really good cover until people actually figure it out. You just don't want to give them a cheap location on you. Obviously, suppressor is good for that with any weapon. Under barrel, I choose the stubby potato grip over the others as it enhances the weapon better overall. The angled is always a good option on a medium range weapon if you plan to burst fire, but as I mentioned, this already has a pretty low first round multiplier, so you don't really need it. So I find you're better off suited. Just grab that stubby, grab that buff off the stubby. You'll be much better off for it, and you'll be much more, effective. Accessory, again, it depends on kind of how you're going to play it. If you're holding a position, then the laser light combo, strangely, is not a good pick. I pretty much recommend that on all weapons thus far. But if you're going to hold a position in kind of a defensive position, or even, as an aggressor, but kind of medium range to kind of soften up the target, you don't want, either the flashlight or the laser giving your position away. You might just want to leave that one in the gun locker for a little while. In that case, I might recommend the magnifier. I've used it plenty with this weapon, even on modes like domination, things smaller maps, because sometimes you just hit the the button, flip it over. It just, again, it makes your accuracy that much more lethal at a medium range, and that is really what you're trying to equip this weapon as. In summary, guys, the Scar H is a very good weapon. It's now one of my new favorite weapons in Battlefield 4. It really kind of mimics how it should be in compared to real life. Don't grab this weapon if you'd be rushing, trying to arm MCOMs. You'd have a real hard time with multiple engagements, multiple enemies. If you're going 1v1 CQB, you're fine, but once you get into 2, definitely 3, you're gonna find your magazines are just too small to really be too effective. Grab this weapon, try to stand off on people, force medium range engagements. You're going to be a monster on the battlefield, especially if you're like a high accuracy type guy. I really enjoy this weapon. I feel like playing with it makes me a better player overall because it forces me to play the game in a way I think Battlefield 4 is best played. A little slower, a little more cover oriented, a little safer, and you're just going to be a monster. So like always, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this weapon. Give me some layouts, some attachments that you enjoy like you guys have been doing on the other videos. It's really great. I then try them them, and I might revisit some of these weapons down the road. Like always, guys, appreciate your support. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, guys.